We will now invite the Ilchamus community. I am told Commissioner Letangule, you are the one leading. We will. Yes. IBC.
About what? Yeah, I saw that.
So, Commissioner Letangule, karibu. I am told you had a very long article in the papers yesterday.
Yes.
We will kindly request you not to take us through the article on a light note. Be very brief. We are, for lack of a better word, stealing time for you from other groups who are waiting. So we'll restrict to what we had agreed of CAP to strictly 10 minutes.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, co-chairs, for giving us this opportunity. I want to confirm that looks like this committee they've not even been given water. So I think we want to appeal to those who fund these people, at least to provide them with basics. Having said that, I want to give the committee some of these documents, just so that we are at one page. Those guys must stand. Do they have this? Oh, okay. Yeah.
I agree.
Honorable members, co-chairs, before you are members of the Ilchamus community from Baringo County. I'm a lawyer of the High Court of Kenya, representing them in several cases, so I'm here in that capacity, and also in the capacity as a member of the Ilchamus community. We have submitted a petition to this honorable committee, and we have a lot of faith in this committee that finally our matters can be heard and be implemented. Now, honorable members, in the interest of time, I will go through the issues very fast. We have submitted only 3 issues to this committee, and our issues are only 3, and all of them. Okay. Yeah.
I agree.
Honorable members, co-chairs, before you are members of the Ilchamus community from Baringo County. I'm a lawyer of the High Court of Kenya, representing them in several cases, so I'm here in that capacity, and also in the capacity as a member of the Ilchamus community. We have submitted a petition to this honorable committee, and we have a lot of faith in this committee that finally our matters can be heard and be implemented. Now, honorable members, in the interest of time, I will go through the issues very fast. We have submitted only 3 issues to this committee, and our issues are only 3, and all of them have ended up in the High Court, and judgments given in favor. Number 1, honorable members, the Ilchamus community is a community residing in Baringo County. It's an indigenous community speaking Ma, as you can see from my standing Morans behind me. This community in the 2019 census were counted to be more than 30,000. I think now we are about 50,000. With a voting block of more than 10,000 votes. We reside in Baringo South currently. Baringo South has about 25,000 votes, and Ilchamus people have 10,000 of those votes. The rest are for the Tugen community, who are our neighbors. Now, it has been very disadvantageous for this community over time because of lack of representation. I think it is the only community in Kenya which has no representative in parliament, whether nominated or elected. And the reason we are here is to petition this committee to finally see how the Ilchamus can get a constituency of their own for effective representation. We face a number of challenges. For example, we are the ones constantly under attack of our neighbors, the Pokot banditry, where they have taken most of our cows and resources, yet we cannot have a voice to raise these issues at the national level. So our first request is to see how, in the next review of boundaries, this community can be represented. And attached to my document is an order issued by the High Court in 2017. It's attached. It's a High Court order. And if you allow me, I will just go to certain specific orders issued by the High Court. One, they said, and this is the three-judge judgment of the High Court, and I will read order number 5, which they said, in the event of any future constituencies being created by an act of parliament or any other review being undertaken, the Ilchamus claim be processed by the Electoral Commission of Kenya with the criteria herein in view. In this regard, we hereby declare that reasonable departure from the normal creation of boundaries be departed with in order to enable the Ilchamus to be represented. In other words, what the High Court was saying in 2006 is that let us depart from the usual criteria to give these people a chance to be represented. And they wrote almost 500 pages judgment, which I was not able to attach, giving the reasons why this community must be considered. And so I've just attached the court order. We have not been able to implement because the current constitution provides for minimum population in a constituency, and they said minimum is 79,000. The Ilchamus cannot reach there. And the High Court was alive to this. And so they said, depart from the normal criteria to enable effective representation of the Ilchamus. I want to ask this committee, as you write your report, kindly see how you can accommodate the Ilchamus people to finally be able to be represented at the national level. So I have attached that order. Issue number 2 is the issue of effects of climate change. Honorable members, I would even ask you to visit Baringo. Something very phenomenal has happened there. The waters of the lake rose up. And the effect is that the two lakes are about to merge, Lake Baringo and Lake Bogoria. Actually, the difference is about now 2 kilometers apart, if I'm not wrong, between the two lakes. And one lake is salty, Lake Baringo is a freshwater lake. Now, a phenomenon has happened. The water is rising. These were areas where the Ilchamus people live. Now, these people have been completely displaced by the water. That land has become government land by virtue of it now being a lake. Now, what happens to these people? That is why we say a special kitty must be established to compensate people who have been moved, not by their own willingness, but by the effects of this climate change. And they have been moved away from their lands, their ancestral lands. So I appeal that through this committee, we see how these people can be compensated for the losses they have incurred. Now, again, my third issue and final one is the issue of Prosobi's plant. This goes together with the issue of climate change, but it's very distinct because this plant called Wengine, it was named after the officer who introduced it in Baringo. I wish I can meet that Wengine to just give a slap. Now,
is that allowed?
Absolutely out of order.
it is because of the pain.
We also know that, in fact, the community got one of the some goats sued this Wengine.
Yes, I was the lawyer on record.
Yeah.
I brought a goat, live goat, to court because the judges were not understanding what I'm talking about.
Okay.
The effect is that this Prosobis, the moment the goat eats the plant, it's sugary, so ultimately all the teeth fall out, so the goat is unable to eat anymore and they die. So this plant was brought in and it really took over the entire area. If you look at the pictures I have annexed to this report, it is a plant which grows even without water. It was brought from South America. And this plant now has submerged the entire area, coupled with the rising lake, which has taken all the homes, coupled with now no goats anymore, no cows. You will see a very sad story here where our children are now going to school with canoes because you see the whole land has been submerged by water. So honorable members, my presentation, and I have attached a court order again on the environment, and I wish you this committee can recommend the implementation of this court order. And one of the orders was that this plant has destroyed livelihoods. And it's not only in Ilchamus. I think it's an issue which you can address conclusively all over. In fact, the current president, Honorable William Ruto, is the one, when he was Minister for Agriculture, declared this plant noxious. He gazetted it. And you can see from this order, it's a lengthy order, but I want to just point order number N. It's where the court made specific that we form a commission to assess the damage caused by, a technical commission be formed, a national commission, which will address the issues of this pro-service, so that this commission will report to the country and assess the damage caused by this plant, assess the cost of damage, loss of lives, loss of animals, and report adequate compensation or any other matters which can be dealt with. This plant is a national crisis. When I talk to you, I'm not just talking about Ilchamus. This plant is a national crisis. The country must wake up to the disaster this plant has brought. It is not only Ilchamus, it is in Tana River, I don't know where else, Garissa I think. Yeah. It is a dangerous plant, and we need a conversation in the country what we do with this plant. I don't know who brought it, but it has caused a lot of havoc. So I want to end there and allow one of my members just a short...
Yes, indeed, and I want you, Commissioner Tangule, to know you've already taken your 10 minutes, but we will hear, Madam, if it can be, you can be very precise, because we had to slot you in, although you're not in our programs. And as we slot you in, Commissioner Tangule, could you be specific? What would you want this committee to do? Because we are not a boundaries in the electoral, not boundaries commission, for example. We see it's a petition. The only thing we can do is make recommendation, but we want it to be very explicit, because we understand. I have a family of the Kikimons who are very close to me, and I know how they've been affected living between Lake Bogoria and Lake Baringo.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
Chair, if you allow, maybe perhaps the lady could speak by way of answering, because I've got something to clarify also.
Okay.
Yes.
Let Madam, you will answer after that. Let her make her comments, and then we'll open the floor.
Yeah.
We'll open the floor to fellow committee members.
Mwenyekiti, kamati wako hapa pamoja na sisi. Kwa majina mimi ni Caroline Lesaya, nominated MCA UDA party from Baringo County, Baringo'S South Ilchamus community.
Your chairman, who is a member of this committee, is obviously out of order.
Yeah, I'm very sorry, but I was just want to introduce myself.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
You have an
I am
executive
just
chair of order.
congratulating you because you belong to my party. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
So she's gone absolutely partisan, but we understand.
Mwenyekiti, I'm very sorry. Ombi langu mwenyekiti kama Ilchamus community ni kuomba eneo la bunge. Tangu tupate uhuru 1963 up to date hatujai ingia bunge la kitaifa. Hiyo ndio ombi kubwa tuko nayo, kwa sababu nikiongea hivi community ya Ilchamus tumepitia mengi machungu sana. Yale yamesokwa na lawyer Ndagule ni hivyo kabisa venye imesema, tumepitia machungu kama community. Sasa tunaomba leo kwa hii committee na tunaomba kwa unyenyekevu ili tuwasaidie ama mtupe hiyo nafasi ili tusikike na shida zetu ipatikane kujulikana, tupate eneo bunge la Baringo kwa Baringo County.
We hear you, Madam, nominated MCA. Now we'll ask
Very quickly.
one comment. Mheshimiwa
In half a minute.
will
Yes.
ask a question or comment.
Yeah, let me confess that I've been very sympathetic to the cause of the Ilchamus people, having gone through their stories over time. And if you have got a friend, then it's me. But let me say this. Before I proceed, I can see my friend, the Honorable Mpurken, in your delegation. And yet he has been an MP in Laikipia North previously. Is he a friend of the Ilchamus or is he an Ilchamus? Just by the way, just not. Two, and more importantly, Wakili, this order, which was issued way back in July 2007, I think in the old constitutional dispensation, was so explicit, so clear, so unambiguous. In fact, order number 5, which was actually decreeing some sort of affirmative action in as far as the Ilchamus community is concerned. And the court was very clear that in the subsequent boundaries review, the Ilchamus should be considered for a constituency. My question is, did you seek to enforce this order by way of serving a decree on the successor to the ECK, which is the IBC? Yes, I don't know. The IBC, as presently constituted or decided, is the successor to the then ECK. And therefore it was under a constitutional and legal obligation to enforce or to implement this court order, which was never vacated or varied in any way from what I have on record. Just clarify that.
I think the issue of Ilchamus was also taken to the African Court of Justice.
Yeah.
They really prosecuted
Yeah.
this matter far and wide and got orders. So people are under obligation to do the right thing. So, Mheshimiwa Sisley?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, let me begin by saying that my heart really goes out to this community. They have their rights, I believe so, and I think it's time we had them. And I want to thank you for your courage to be able to come here and speak out and speak for the people that you've left behind. Now, even as we try to look for our own way of supporting you as a committee, I think you have a serious issue of climate change effects on and impact on your community. And I strongly feel that you need a sitting with the Ministry of Environment through the CS Soipan. And I wish to undertake to help out to make sure that you get a chance to sit down with her. Because I know the ministry has taken climate change very, very seriously. I know there's a lot of resources, not necessarily in the ministry, but across the world around the livelihoods and issues of climate change. So I'll be happy, Commissioner Letangule, to offer that support of making sure you have a sitting with the CS, who I'm sure will definitely come to the rescue of the community. That would be a great opportunity.
Thank you. And I think with that, we want to say thank you for coming to see us. We will do our bit, however small, as a committee. Thank you. Do you want to respond?
Yeah, just your question on how to implement.
Yeah.
Thank you very much once again for this committee, and thank you so much for being sympathetic with our cause. I can see it from Governor Sisley and Honorable Wandai. I think we seem to be sorted. We'll take the offer. We'll ask you once we move out, please be with us.
Yes.
Because that's
No. I want to take it up with Cecily on that note. It's not going to be an easy matter. There's plenty of funding in the area of climate change. And this community needs to get money on the ground to help them. Because watoto hawezi kwenda shule, watoto kwa mashua jameni, like Baringo, the hotels there sank. It's a complete disaster. And I think we should use this as a country to illustrate that we can actually benefit from climate funding. So let's IPAN, the CS, be able to take this matter strong.
on the issue of how to implement, we have Article 100 in our current constitution. I think it will be the recommendation of this committee. Article 100 specifically talks about how marginalized and ethnic minorities can be represented. I think if this article is operationalized by way of recommendation from this committee, with specific affirmative action for communities like us, I think we can finally get some help in terms of representation at the national level. Therefore, we thank you for hearing us, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Wakili and the delegation of Ilchamus community. All the best.
Thank you. Okay. Do we still have others on that list for the day?
I'm told Senator Gender is in the house. Senator Gender, we had given him a slot, but he can only come for